What's up, Mortgage Coach community? We're coming in hot. 2023 is off to a great start. I would say I talked to a lot of folks, and some people it's coming off as a better start than others. Some people I'm just like, I'm killing it, and they're having fun because in my opinion, they're taking action and they're doing the right actions. Some people aren't quite as fired up about the climate that we're in, but I'm going to be interviewing Mike Farr. I've known Mike for longer than I can remember, more than a decade. It seems like 2 decades. I've known Mike as a top producing loan officer that used MortgageCoach, grandmaster level producer. I've known him as a branch manager, a regional leader, a head of production for Finance of America. And today he's a divisional manager with American Pacific Mortgage. And I just think he's got the right mindset to hit this market and do well. So Mike, welcome, brother.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Well, you've always had a knack. Every time I've ever spoken to your loan officers or met with you, you have a great attitude, and it seems like you drive a great attitude culture. And then you've used sales Boomerang and MortgageCoach for years. So in my mind, you're really smart with technology. I want to know where your head's at coming into 2023, and then what do you think I'm going to try to over the course of this conversation, what do you think are the 3 biggest opportunities?
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Dave. Look, I mean, me personally, and my journey here in this last several months probably isn't too different from a lot of people. Obviously, our company closed down over Finance America. We just made a big move over to a new company, but it's totally different from a lot of other people. A lot of people have made moves in the business. We know this. I've been watching a lot of your interviews, and a lot of people have made that move, and it creates some distraction, right? And so obviously we've seen the market change. Volumes down, units are down, all those things. But I think what we all understand is we're no longer playing, American style football. We're playing rugby, right? And we're still trying to throw the ball overhand.
That analogy. It's the first time I've heard it.
Yeah.
And we're not even playing rugby. We're playing in the neighborhood. There's no rules and there's no rules.
Yeah, and you gotta come up with new strategies, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we all know, we're going to be successful in any market. If you're a goal-driven, oriented type person that I know most of the people that are listening and most of the people that are using your services, these are winners no matter what. We just need to change our strategies. So we're going to win, but we've got to learn the new rules on the new playing field. And I think, as you come out of the holiday season, you come off a transition, whatever it is, if you've moved companies, the name of the game is getting the mindset back into play and understanding what the new environment looks like. I mean, I think that's the key thing, is just understanding that the field of play has changed, and we need to learn the new rules, learn the new strategies, tactics, and tips, and understand that the way that we've done business in the last 12 years since the last meltdown are going to be very, very different moving forward.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you. So as far as mindset goes, guys, I can't emphasize how important that is. It's one of the reasons why I coach with Jonathan Roach, and he's going to be doing a Tuesday takeover this Tuesday at 9:00. Jonathan, who's a 12-time Ironman finisher, 27-time finisher of the Boston Marathon. The guy knows how to grind. First of all, to finish the Boston Marathon for 27 years takes a certain level of doing the right things, not just running fast, not just exercising hard, but stretching and making sure that we have sustainable mortgage careers. So make sure y'all tune into that. So what are some of the biggest opportunities you see in the market today for loan officers? And I do want to speak to 2 groups here. Well, I think top producers is a big part of our audience. People like you said, hey, I've been watching a lot of MortgageCoach YouTube videos. But by the way, before I ask that opportunity question, why have you been watching so many MortgageCoach YouTube videos?
I'm glad you asked, Dave. To me, this is the biggest thing I'm most focused on right now is, moving from head of production. I'm, divisional leader, but I'm also a branch manager. Again, I'm back in the branch that I've been in for, 15 years. I haven't been here for the last couple of years. And to be totally honest, as a sales leader, I was a little intimidated coming back into a branch when I had kind of elevated away from the day-to-day production. And I'm like, what value am I going to provide these originators in the time that they need value more than anything? And so for me, I needed to condense my learning curve, if you will, to get back to understanding the day-to-day fight of a originator. And I called you because I started going, hey, I'm going to make a commitment that 1 hour a day, I'm going to spend listening to a podcast, or an interview or a video or whatever I can find with top producing loan officers in this market so that I can refamiliarize myself with what the strategies, tactics, and tips are. And the good news is, in the last couple of years since I've been removed, not much has changed. The language has changed a little bit. The technology and tools have changed. But at the end of the day, it's about finding people's biggest problems, coming up with solutions for them, and connecting with them on a human level, and then using technology to keep in touch with as many of those people as you can. So what I wanted to tell you is, when I look out there and look at the way that we sell, and I think this is the biggest challenge, we have lost our sales skills in the last couple of years. With 2020 and 2021, the fruit was so plentiful that, quite frankly, our advisor and consultant skills have atrophied. We just haven't needed to use them. The people were lined up at our door. We're just locking loans and funding them. And we think we're building a real business, but in fact, we were just blessed by the market. So I think a lot of loan officers, as the tide's gone out here, they've realized, oh no, I need to get back to basics. So my word for the year is evolve. And one of the things that I used as a story actually yesterday in my sales meeting with 170 loan officers, I used a story about you, Dave, and what you do at Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang. You talk and you weave Sales Boomerang and Mortgage Coach into these conversations. But what I look at you doing is you are helping people solve their biggest problem right now. Your customer and the people that you're most interested in are loan advisors winning. And everything about your YouTube channel, when I went on there and saw all these videos, I was going to do podcasts and all these other things. You know where I've spent all my time? 100% of my time every single morning is listening to a different video on that YouTube channel. I've told every one of my advisors, go follow that channel. Start listening to videos every morning, and it just gets your mindset, start thinking. And as I listen to you talk, you're not selling your product. You're selling solutions that solve big problems for loan officers. And to me, that's the name of the game in 2023 is, as an advisor, I've got kind of this 5-step framework for influence that we're starting to teach with our advisors that I think is going to be leading content. We're not copying or following anybody. It's leading type content that I think loan officers need to adopt. And I'm happy to share it with you if you have time.
Yeah, let's hopefully have time for that.
Yeah.
So my mission with the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel and all the content we created with Boomerang and Mortgage Coach is to provide this no cost source of how advisors are really helping families. So I was on a call I led, and then there was Q&A at the end, and there was a real estate agent who's been in the business for 20 years. So 20-year top producing agent. And she said, this happened on 12/20, she had 3 escrows fall out. And she said, that's the first time that's happened in a day in my entire career. And she goes, and then she listened to my presentation. She was giving this feedback at the end. And she goes, I was thinking to myself, all the loan officers I've used for years, and I had really loyal relationships. She goes, I'm not using them anymore. I'm using, she goes, I didn't know Mortgage Coach, but after seeing what Mortgage Coach does, how it really helps the customer understand their options and understand how to build wealth with real estate. She's like, that's how you keep deals in escrow. And she goes, I didn't know it, but I've been working, like the new people I've been working with, they're mortgage coaches, because just closing a loan on time, this was her words, just closing a loan on time, keeping your promises to me, and having a good rate, like that's worked for 3 years. She goes, that no longer works. So one message to anyone listening to this, almost every realtor in America is up for grabs because they've got problems that a loan officer can't solve. And here's another thing. Tell me if you agree with this, Mike. Well, first of all, you don't need to agree. The fact is, guys, 63% of mortgages in America start with a 2 or a 3. So we're going to have a decade of getting move-up buyers. They're not going to move up because they got a better rate. They're going to move up because they can build wealth with real estate faster. They're going to move up because they can rent it out and grow their net worth faster. So what are your thoughts on, sounds like opportunity number 1 is sell the problems you solve, not the products that you have. And what do you think about opportunity number 2? It's a little of the same, but you really need to become that master advisor. What are your thoughts on that?
100%. I mean, we got to talk about what real estate can do to hit your financial goals. And, listening to some of your videos, I think we talk about financial freedom, and I love your passion for financial literacy, Dave, and the tools, Mortgage Coach. I don't know how you can articulate the impact of real estate in your financial future without using a tool like Mortgage Coach. I mean, it just, you can't do that on a fee worksheet. You can't do that scribbling on the back of a legal pad. You have to have a tool to show people. And I have personal experience in the years past where, you write all these things down. I've even put things in spreadsheets, but until you put it in front of Mortgage Coach and you can record it, they can keep it, they can refer back to it, they can share it with their spouse. Those things are important to be able to have a tool to where they can kind of illuminate the ideas that you're trying to describe to people. We get complacent because we talk about these financial strategies all day and we just expect that other people can just retain that, and they can't. You have to have the pie charts and the colors, and you have to be able to have the freedom point and all those kind of things. And I think in order to be that value provider, you do have to ask your customers, what does financial freedom mean to you? Because it is different for everybody, right? And so we've been really encouraging our people to not just call your database and say happy birthday, and do these basic little touch points. And hey, if you're ever thinking about buying or selling, am I the person you're going to use? These are great little scripts and everything. But in lieu of a connection with them and a real understanding of what their actual financial goals are, you can't really be a provider to them, and you're not going to be a significant person in their life. And so that's the key.
So guys, and all of those things, they don't create value. What creates value is helping someone grow their net worth faster. What creates value is helping someone have financial freedom faster. What creates value is helping them see that, hey, this is a really good time to invest in real estate. We could go on about that, but like this looks like a really, from a data perspective, if you're a data-driven mortgage advisor, the data looks like this is unbelievable. So I don't want to run out of time because I want to hear your 5 things. So how about real quick, give us one more opportunity, and then let's, for the next 7 minutes, let's have you unpack your 5-step influence.
Well, I would say, opportunity wise, what you just said, when you find out what that freedom point is and you deliver a solution that moves them closer to financial freedom, the other important step, I think, is that as you call and do follow up, not only at the close of escrow, but as you do your annual loan reviews after that, you can refer back to saying, hey, you told me when we first met, financial freedom meant this to you. Here's what we've done so far. I think we got to remind people of the impact that you've had in their life and their financial life. So, because they'll forget. you got to pat yourself on the back sometimes or remind people what you're doing for them and how you're impacting their financial life. So I think that's a big strategy that we miss sometimes. Hey, we started out and you had, no equity in a home. You hadn't done anything. Now you own 2 homes. We've known each other for 5 years. You bought your first home. You've got this. Your net worth has increased by X%. And man, it's just been a fun journey watching you grow. And I've just loved being a part of it because that's part of my why as an advisor. Right? So that's the key thing. Okay. So as far as these 5-step framework for influence, this to me is the name of the game. It's kind of a high trust type of thing. But number 1, the first 3 steps are what you have to do before you provide a solution. I see loan officers right now in this market where they're going out, and I see it on social media, and they're selling solutions. People can't grab your solution if they can't tie it to a problem that they have. So the step 1 in the 5 steps is define the problem. So we have to ask them questions to figure out what is their biggest challenge, what is their most expensive problem they have right now that's keeping them up at night, that they're worried about, that they're avoiding, that's frustrating them. We have to ask questions to figure out what is the one thing that's the biggest problem for them. Step 2, what is the cost of not solving that problem? How is it hurting you? How's it hurting you financially? How's it hurting you emotionally? How's it hurting your mindset? How's it hurting your relationships? Number 3, what is the benefit of solving this problem? Okay, so some people are positive, some people are negative. Some people need that, with my kids, sometimes it's like, hey, I'll pay you $10 to clean your room, or if you don't clean your room, I'm taking your phone for an hour, right? So you got to have that negative and positive. So what are the costs of not solving the problem? What are the benefits of solving it? So those first 3, okay, those are helping them take this problem, pull it off of their head, off their face, look at it, describe it in great detail. Once they resonate with this problem that they've probably put off for a while, they'll start to understand it. That creates urgency for them to want to solve that problem. So once you get them nodding yes to, I know what the problem is, I know the cost of not solving it, I know the benefits of solving it and the opportunities. Now, step 4 is providing a solution. Okay. Now we can get into, hey, I've got this program, 3.5% down, da, 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 da. But then there's a cost of the solution, which is step 5. So 4, we're going to talk about the solutions we can provide. And step 5, we're going to talk about the costs of those solutions. Now, if in absence of the top 3, how can I provide solutions and talk about costs and make you jump through all these hoops when you don't even know why you're doing it? So the first 3 questions really help people establish the why they're in front of you. And then they're going to jump on your back and go through this mortgage process that can be bumpy, right? And we're going to need to remind them along the way. If the appraisal comes in short, the HR person's out of town for 2 weeks, we got to extend the lock, who knows what's going on with that transaction. It can get frustrating. We need to remind that customer along the process why they're doing this. Remember, you wanted to buy a home because nobody in your home, in your family has ever owned a home before. That was so important to you. And it's a huge piece of your retirement plans. That's why we're going through this. That's why you need to stop being frustrated and follow me with the process, because at the end, you're going to get all these things. So I think that's a high trust type of interview. It allows you to extract the problem for why their people are doing things. And I would also say that 5-step process, I am very passionate about sales leadership. And I think that when I talk to our recruiters and as we go out and talk to people, the reason people are making moves in companies partially is because they're not gaining value out of the people that they work with either. And I think that it's really important, if you're a sales leader out there, that you have to go get with your loan officers and find out what is the biggest problem they're dealing with right now. What is the cost of them not solving it? How can you help them provide solutions? And so that's the name of the game, I think, is that we have to add way more value than we've been across the board in this industry.
So I'm going to close out with a thought, and I want to get your opinion on this. I posted this on LinkedIn, guys. So the 6 mega trends of top 100 top producers that do 100 million. It's on LinkedIn. I'm doing a lot of presentations on this. Number 1 is being data driven, and I'm not going to go into this in detail, but guys, you need to be data driven. When you look at how many folks, these are the numbers: 23.6% of mortgages. That means they start with a 2. 39.5% start with a 3. And so the world has just changed. You need to deliver advice. And this is a framework. I was listening to your 3, and I'm going to put a little more color on number 5, because I agree with all of them. We got to define the problem. How old do you want to be when your home's paid off? How old are you going to be? Oh, you want to be 45 or 50 and you're going to be 65 or 70? We need to create these gaps, and why, if it's first time home buyer, why do you want to own a home? But then when it comes to that number 5, talking about cost, the mortgage options will help you show the cost and compare them. Here's different cost options. And then you guys, you got to do it over time. Every other loan officer is showing, hey, here's the cost for next month. And this is the cost to close the loan. You got to show it, and I would propose over 3 different periods. Monthly, that's what every loan officer does, but show it like a short-term period. If it's someone that's really concerned about 3 years from now or 5 years from now, it's 3 or 5 years from now. But and if it's someone that, hey, I want to be debt-free in 20 years, well, maybe it's 5 years in 20 years. So show those costs over time. And then strategies, guys. This last one, and this is all part of number 5, people don't get loans because they want loans. They get loans because they want homes. And the American dream is not just a home. It's a home that's debt-free. Or it's a home where I got enough money in the bank that I can just pay it off. Financial freedom with home ownership is the goal. So I would just add to number 5, a few more words. Talk about the cost over a couple different periods that matter to that client, and show them how that will help them achieve financial freedom, or how that will help them boost their net worth. So I would just put a little more meat on the bones on number 5. But dude, I think when I wrote this on our YouTube channel, it's gonna be Mike Farr's 5 steps of influence. I think that sounds pretty badass. I was going to do 3 top opportunities, but I really like the 5 steps of influence, bro. So anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, man, I think there's a lot more that you can dive in with those 5 steps. Obviously, there's so much content there. And like I said, I think within branches, but I think right now I would just challenge loan officers to get out of your comfort zone. When I look at those 5 steps, I think about loan officers as well. There's things that they need to be doing. They need to be calling their database. They need to be reaching out to their realtors. They need to be finding out the problems that are out there. And they need to understand that there are costs to that also, which means a little more time away from the family, got to get in the office a little bit more. And I think we need to spend a lot more time practicing before we get on the phone. We don't spend enough time practicing, learning things like Mortgage Coach, understanding those strategies, understanding how the power of sales boomerang and how to articulate that to your referral partners. I think those things are important, but change is the great equalizer, man. And we're all back on the starting line. We're all fresh. And like you said, every realtor out there is up for grabs. And I think the people that understand the concepts that you guys are teaching, that we're talking about now, are the ones that are going to win at the end of 2023. So I'm fired up, buddy.
So one more thing, because you said it, and I interviewed Jeremy Forcier a couple of days ago, and he said, my words this year are growth. Was it consistency? Uniformity. And so a closing thought, guys, listening to this, is have your 5 steps. These are Mike's 5 steps. I'm sure that the loan officers serving, they're going to have these 5 steps. But like, if you're a manager, what are your 5 steps? Because here's what I do know. This is not a market where your steps are pre-approval, close deal. This is not a volume market. This is a 5 steps of influence, 5 steps of values market. So get clear on your 5 steps and then deliver them with every single consumer. And if you're a manager, this is time to lean into your team, especially the people that aren't hitting their numbers. One of my predictions for all you loan officers that aren't hitting your numbers, like, good leaders are going to lean into you this year. Like this is not a market where we can have underperforming loan officers under our roof. So if you're a loan officer, you're underperforming, you need 5 steps. You need to do it, because leadership in all mortgage companies are not, just can't have people that are not leaning into success. So, dude, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you too, Dave.
Hope everybody got value from this. Give it a like down below if you did. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, subscribe. If you don't know what Mortgage Coach is, go to savageinsights.com. If you want a demo to either Mortgage Coach or Sales Boomerang, just go to savageinsights.com and we'll hook you up. Take care, everybody.